Evening. Hi all. It's a bit high, innit? Hello everyone. Check out my giant dome. How we all doing? Figured I'd do a chat, see if anyone wants to chat about anything painty or even guitar, because generally that's how I like to do my chats. So yeah, what's everyone up to? Some new names there I've not seen, or at least don't see too often. Who's up to what tonight? Mason, good evening. Wrestling me getting transfers on shoulder pads. How so? Why? What trouble are you having with shoulder pads? Got the right song, but still a bugger. Why? What's the problem? Mr. Pedley. Everyone go and follow Damien Pedley. He's not into fame and fortune, but he somehow deserves it. Because he's funny and cool and an amazing painter. Figures, good evening. Struggling to get them to sit flat on a curved surface. Okay, so first thing I guess you're not doing is putting two little cut slices at the top end. So those slices, yeah, will allow then for it to fold conically over the curvature of the shoulder pad on each side. Yeah, two cuts. Don't make a meat because you're just going to cut that bit out. Two cuts. Yeah, and those cuts will enable that transfer to then curve over. Yeah, sometimes you might need a third at the top so it folds over. That's generally what you have to do. And to make them cuts, don't cut with a craft knife. Press the craft knife on and roll it. Okay? Because you might already have the shoulder pad on the model, so you're going to have to cut it on the model. Yeah, press it, roll it, let it go. Then when that's done, let it dry sensibly. You might just get where those two corners fold on, you might get a little peak there, but you can press them down with your finger when it all dries a little bit more. You're welcome, Brother Captain Tom. The question is, were you doing any of them things? And if not, let me know how it goes, because I just want to know that I've helped you out. And there you got good results. In fact, here's some more good advice about the transfers. Where you've put them cuts, if you're then manipulating it with a wet brush, which you should be if you're not, be a little bit more gentle, because where then you've put them cuts in the water slide transfer, it's easy for them to split. Yeah, just remember you're fiddling with a real thin membrane, and not only are you fiddling with that membrane, you've now put a solvent on it, so it's getting softer and softer and wrinklier and wrinklier. Now, if you've never done it before and you start seeing your transfer going really wrinkly, that's normal. Though some transfers are a little bit thicker and they don't go as wrinkly, and I think that's a bad thing. Thinner transfers are generally better. You're just going to have to be a lot more gentle, a lot more precise when you're using them. It's another good bit of advice. On a marine shoulder pad, generally sit them further up the shoulder pad, which does make it more difficult because it's going over that curvature, but there's nothing less aesthetic than an insignia on a shoulder pad that's too low down, you know. So yeah, get a craft knife, cut it, be careful. You know, I say 2 cuts. Some, you know, you might need more, blah blah blah. Be gentle with it, and yeah, that's that. This is why I like these live streams. You know, I put a lot of them on the YouTube channel, and I get to react to you. Do you know what I mean? I get to give you almost directly what it is you need. You know, whereas doing whatever YouTube video that I've planned, well, I'm guessing. You know, so I'm glad you're actually doing some hobby while you're sat at your desk. You know, and some people find it weird that I play guitar when I do these, but I also do these just for company in my own time. So this is like company for my house. Most people that come here just come for a painting lesson and disappear. You know, it's not. So it's like having friends. I tell you what I did do tonight, actually. I've made my first video for my Patreon subscribers, and I actually found it, and it's related to that comment I've just made, by the way. I made my first video for the Patreon subscribers, and I actually found it pretty difficult because I'm trying to teach my fundamentals course, and without having that person there to bounce off, I actually found it quite difficult. So I've got a sneaky feeling what I'll do is I'm going to give the course out best I can on my Patreon page, and learn to get used to teaching the fundamentals course on video. Yeah, it's a very, very, very strange experience for me. It felt a little bit clunky. I felt a little bit uncomfortable doing it. But I mean, I got the information out. But again, without having that person there in front of me for me to guide, it was a very interesting experience. So yeah, can you all hear me, by the way? This music's not too loud, is it? I'm gonna turn it down anyway. So yeah, you doing all them steps but lacking the patience. You spelt patience wrong. I hope you're not torturing anyone there. F to F, face to face. Thought you'd spelt one wrong then. Yeah, online teaching is a completely different experience. I mean, I'm alright preaching my philosophies without teaching, but it's very, very, very different thing, you know. I'm very accustomed to having the person there, and that's a big reason why I don't teach necessarily on YouTube. I actually find it quite sterile. So we'll see what those guys get out of it. Because again, why these videos, when I do them face to face like this, I do get to bounce off you, I do get to give you feedback, I do get to see what your troubles are, I do get to, it's a very organic experience, and that's just much more valuable. Human, I think that's the term, isn't it? Human experiences. Maybe top supporters can be in a private live stream of the Patreon vid, then cut it down for the release. Yeah, maybe, but I mean, I don't have any tiers at the moment. I'm not on Patreon right now to make loads of money, because I don't think right now I'm prepared, whether prepared in experience wise or equipment wise, in order to deliver the service I think people deserve if I start adding top tiers in. So right now my Patreon page is just open for those that want to give whatever they feel to me based on what I've already done and at the rate I'm working at. You know, I'm not asking anybody for anything. You know, it's just like a busker. Yeah, the art is on the pavement. If you want to throw something in it, then I'm really grateful, and I'm doing the best I can with what I've got, which really is just a mobile phone. You know, I use the editing software on my phone, which as much as I'm grateful for it all, it's not good enough for the task. I don't know, even then my computer isn't good enough for the task, my cameras aren't good enough for the task. So, you know, this is a case of, if I want to do better videos, higher quality videos, and something that I feel is worth more money, then I need more equipment. So that's kind of what that Patreon page is there for, you know. So let's see what folk have said. Oh, Mr. Phoenix, I'm grabbing you, Mr. Phoenix. Liam, do you want to come on live? I should do you as well, Mr. Pedley, actually, but I'm gonna do Mr. Liam Hearne, because he did a review of my course, and I've got a question to ask you. So send me a thumbs up or something, and let me know if you want to come on. 10 folk. Wow. 9 folk. Oh, somebody's buggered off. Damien Pedley, having done my non-Mets course, having me there, it's bounce ideas off is invaluable. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. It's not necessarily having me there, but having a teacher-student dynamic is massively important. Oh, Earth Reborn, thank you, man. The video's uploading to YouTube now, and I keep it as a private link on there, so it won't be up quite yet, so don't go rushing off too fast. Am I going to run any more group training sessions anytime soon? I hope so. We shall see. There's nothing, there's no more definites booked in. I've done the last ones for Journeyman, at least that I know of. Unless they've got me plans for anything new next year. I'm looking at all my courses at the moment. I'm looking at all my courses, and I've learned so much about teaching people face to face, as Liam can attest. That's Phoenix Commissions. That I actually think it's time for me to level them up a little bit, but I can't decide how, because I feel like I could be giving these guys more, whereas at the same time, can they hack it? That's the first question, because they can be tiring courses, really intense. And then the next question is, in fact, all the music can go away a little bit more. So, what was I saying? Yeah, I think expanding my fundamentals course from a day to 2 days feels very sensible to me, and doing the same with my non-mets feels very sensible to me. But it's a little bit of a risk, you know. Can everybody commit to that? Can everybody commit, whether it be time or money? And can I find a venue suitable for that? I'm very, 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 very well rehearsed at my fundamentals course. Like, very well rehearsed. It's just in me, you know. And it was on the last Journeyman course. I was sat there thinking, do you know what, right? I want to spend more time with everybody. On those courses, I'm really particular about getting round everybody and giving them one-to-one time as well. And I'd like to do more of that, you know, and really make sure that I not only challenge my students a little bit more, but also give them a lot more information to step up to that challenge with. And I don't necessarily mean make your painting quality higher. Oh, what am I saying here now? I'm talking about challenging you in ways to force you and help you take on the teaching so you can learn quicker. It's not necessarily about the standard of your painting, because the standard of your painting will rise as a result of you learning what I'm trying to get into your head quicker, or remove the bullshit out of your head quicker. And that one-on-one time is really important for that. And I have a rhythm on my fundamentals course. I start to get into a flow pretty quick. Once I get over it, I have like an initial like stage fright, like 20 minutes or something like that, and then I start to become the game show host essentially, and I start to really enjoy myself. I often wonder, actually, is that the true me? You know. So yeah, I'm toying with the idea. I tried it on a small course a few months ago. Excuse me, in summer, and it was good, but I still think it could be better. I don't think I'd do it that way again. But yeah, it's been an interesting year for courses. So I might get a new one in for the beginning of the new year up here in Manchester for anyone that fancies it. You know, so I don't know. because part of me's, I don't know, what's this space? I'm really thinking about having a rejig on a lot of things, you know. At one point I thought I was just gonna jack it all in, but I'm still here, aren't I? So anyone got any more questions? Phoenix Commissions. Got my guitar playing fingers on today. Bosh. Right, Phoenix Commissions. Bam! Everyone go and follow Mr. Phoenix, by the way. He's a good lad. Wow, the hooded monk. What's going on there? Hiya.
Let's get rid of that. God, that's terrible.
Why are you dressed like an American wrestler?
Because I look like a tramp. I need to hide half my face.
Right, let's get me angle. Right, oh, right, here we go. Hiya, what's going on?
No, not much. Just chilling out in the evening. How about you?
Yep, same thing. Chilling out, seeing what people are doing, offering me nuggets of wisdom, should they be needed. Fiddling on this, because that's what I like to do during these things. And I'm happy doing that. So yeah, there you go.
What have you been up to? You've been a bit quiet on Instagram.
And having a brew. Yeah, I have been a bit quiet on Instagram because kind of I just want to smash through the model I'm painting at the moment.
What one are you working on?
And to be honest, I don't think I've been myself very much in the last few months either.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. But recently I've been feeling a lot more myself, you know. So there you go. But what have I been working on? That Stormcast, and I really want to get him finished. You know, he was just a practice piece, but he's turned into a little bit of a project. So
is that the one the mounted one that you showed us on the course?
Yeah, the non-met one. Yeah.
Oh, the silver one.
Yeah, the guy going like, ah.
Oh, okay, because you showed us the. It was like was it on the Griff Charger or whatever with a banner? It was.
Oh yeah, no, not that one. Yeah, not that one. No.
That's what I thought you meant.
So yeah. All right. Thank you for that video. You did of the course. By the way, it's weird you should pop up because that's kind of what I've been talking about in the last however long during this little live stream thing. But I wanted to ask you because you mentioned like one of the downsides was nobody gets many of my opinions, and I wanted to ask you if there's any of my opinions that you would have liked, so I can give them to you, because it's not that I avoid though I do avoid giving out opinions if I can. But it's not because I don't want my opinions out there. It's because the first thing I do is, before I give a student any advice, is I ask myself if I'm talking shit. I know I ramble and I know I babble. Right? I ask myself, am I talking crap here? And am I just trying to get somebody to do it my way? Or am I really teaching them to make a sensible choice? Do you know what I mean?
So,
And it's almost like me opinions now. I kind of have no opinions when it comes to teaching people how to paint. And because it is just a cause and effect kind of thing. And your statement really got me thinking. I thought, well, other than just telling people what I like and dislike, it's hard to say, because I think in terms of properties now. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, that's fair. I think so. So the first time I did your course, my comparison with yours was with Banshee, if you remember rightly. Your courses are both
Which
incredibly
is some
different.
comparison.
Well, the thing is, your courses, those are the two which had the biggest impact for me. But your courses are completely different. So, for example,
Yeah.
when I was on Banshee's course, he talks a lot of crap, and not in a bad way, but I mean, like, his comparisons. He compares colors to different types of ninjas, and there's sex references in there and all sorts of stuff. And his core.
Why not, eh?
Well, this is exactly it.
Sounds like my kind of teacher already, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Sex and ninjas and painting.
The reason why it's so good is not necessarily because of all the information he gives you, but it's because of how much of him you get and how much passion he has. And the reality of it is I went away from that course, and at first I had learned nothing. Not because he never taught it, but I felt like all the information he gave, it then took me 2 years to unlock.
Do you know what? A few people have said that, like, they're still learning from that course.
Yeah.
Now it's like had
3 years
a real profound impact on them, a lasting.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas in yours is very different. It's very, this is factual information. This is what will happen. And you don't necessarily stray from that. And it's interesting because I found that incredibly helpful, because when I was on your course, I was in a point of my, I hate saying career, but I do paint professionally, so career is probably the best word for it. But I was at a point in my career, and I still am now, where I'm not very confident about who or what I am as a painter, or where I should be going, or what my direction is. But the difference is when I went on your course, I had so much information that was correct, factual, that it gave me direction. So, and it's really interesting. So what last time I went on your course was what, 3-4 months ago, maybe?
Yeah, summer.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and it's really interesting because actually what's happened is I've taken that information, and actually there's a fair bit of it that I don't not disagree with, but I no longer use. Not because any of it's wrong or any of it shouldn't be used. It's purely that actually it doesn't necessarily work for me. But because I have the information, it's given me the basis to go, this is the sort of painter that I actually am.
So you're saying it's helped you cut through certain bullshit, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why, like, when I talk to people now, I am journeyman. That's Tim or Mally. Yes, I'm ranting. Raining? Is it raining? Yeah. Cheers for that. Yeah, it's cut down on all that bullshit. And you know what? Painting for me now is very much back to basics. What's my brush doing, and what is my paint doing? That's all it comes down to.
Yeah,
and that's what
weirdly
consciously think about. Nothing else comes into it anymore. Yeah. Hey, Mally, you all right? Yeah, so I think that's the reason why that course was so powerful. But if I'm completely honest with you, and I did say this in the video, I kind of feel like, yes, I think 3 of my mates have gone on the course now, and they all say that you are an incredibly good teacher, which is absolutely right. But, and this is me trying to be honest about it, is if I got a decent painter who was also a great teacher, would he be able to run that same course? The reality is he probably could, because all the information you gave is fact, as opposed to any of yourself. Keep talking. Give me a sec. I've got to put my phone on charge.
Do you know what? I've got to do the same thing as well. In fact, while you're doing that, I'm gonna squiz over here. Get me get in my painting area. Hiya! Get my freaking charger going and all.
There we go. I'm good.
Look at those professionals and everything.
Well, in the evening, I paint. I don't paint in my office. I paint on the couch. So I'm sprawled across the couch at the moment with a dog on my lap. So.
Ah, brilliant. Right, here we go. Back in the Golden Painting Studio.
Yeah, so what we're saying. So I think when I say I want more of you on a course, like I came back to your courses because of how good they were. Yes, but I always feel like you're incredibly reserved, and I always get the impression that you don't feel like potentially your opinion should be put out there, or your opinion deserves to be out there. And I think you underestimate your position in the community. And I think
I can agree with that.
And it's, do you know what? If I turn around and say to you, what's your opinion on painting with texture? So creating textures with paint. Normally what would happen is you'll give me a very fact-based information answer based on what
I could give you my answer right now. I could just go, blah.
The problem is with that is, and this is something I'm finding especially at the moment, is for if me and you were to have a educated discussion about that, we would need more than just this is the right, this is wrong. We need it based off what your opinions are on it. So if I said to you, Tommy, how do you feel about creating texture on leather, as an example?
Yeah.
Then you would give me an answer, but actually, what's your personal opinion on it? What's your personal opinion, depending on the scale or how realistic you want to create, or whether you're painting GW models or, say, a journeyman?
You see what you're doing there? What you're doing there is you're giving me all them options. These are all the options that my brain would then go through. And I go, well, there's a time and a place to do it.
Absolutely.
You know. So if you just ask me, because I answered it twice in my head when you said, how do you paint leathers? And the first, my gut response is, do it. Just do it. Yeah. But then as you started to elaborate more on it, my brain is going, well, there's times if I was doing heavy metal style, I probably wouldn't do any texture on the leather. I'd just do some lines and blah, blah, blah. If I was working up into a bust, I'd definitely be doing texture. What kind of texture would I do? You know, and I'd take myself on this like yes or no kind of flowchart journey. And my brain just goes, and it just, so all the answers are right. You know, so it's not, it then comes down to, well, if I was to do texture on the gloves, what kind of texture would I do?
Yeah.
You know?
And this is the thing.
On and on and on.
It's you make those decisions and those answers are right for you. And it becomes very personal. And I think this is where I'm more interested now. If I was to go on another one of your courses, because I've done yours, I think 3 times now. If I was to go on another one of your
fundamentals twice.
And
the non-met once.
Yeah. I would be more interested in what is your personal take on it, why you're making that choice. Because you know what it's like with every miniature, it's just a series of decisions. That's it.
Yeah.
So for someone who has I think like 15 years more experience than I do, I would be interested in your thought process as of why you're making that decision, because your opinion is based entirely on your experiences. So, yeah.
So that's very interesting, that, because in fact it is a statement.
True.
The fundamentals isn't how I paint. All right. The fundamentals is how I teach people how to paint. Okay.
Yeah.
And how I paint now is very much an organic process.
Yeah.
You know, and the fundamentals comes out of getting people to understand that organic process. So it very much comes back to what you said earlier on. You thought, oh, well, there's some parts of the fundamentals that I no longer use. You've omitted them. And that's probably because you're now working on your own autopilot, your own gut feeling, your own organic process,
Yeah.
you know. Now, the interesting thing, in fact, I'd be very interested to know which bits you've omitted, because though you may have consciously omitted them, it doesn't mean that they're not being used by you at some point. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of why the fundamentals is what it is. But that's just a guess, you
Yeah.
know. But I've had people say that to me before. They say, "Oh yeah, I don't use this part of it." But when I think about it, which parts of consistency wouldn't you use? And I can't imagine there's one there. You know, which part of the ballparks of brushstrokes wouldn't you use? I
Yeah.
can't imagine there's one there. You know, which parts of the bits that happen on a model wouldn't you use? And I'm thinking, well, I can't imagine there's any there.
The thing is,
So
though,
that makes me wonder then.
I think it's very much a journey, isn't it? So what
Yeah.
it's at that point in time, are you using those? So I've gone off certain things. So that brushstroke that you taught on the non-met day, I
Yeah,
went for a stage of about a month and a half where I absolutely loved it. I used it all the time. And now, unless I'm doing something very specific, it's just not something that comes into my mind at all. But what I do find, it's really funny because it's this whole, as you say, as much as I do copy what you say in this regards, is it's consciously painting as opposed to unconsciously painting. What I
yeah,
tend to find is, although you're absolutely right, I agree with you, painting is very natural about how and what you're doing. I do break it down to when I'm painting, why am I doing that brushstroke? Why is my paint
yeah,
as thin as it is? Does it need to be as thin as it is? And
yeah,
since doing your course, I do find myself painting less and less with thin paint. A lot of the time I use it straight out of the tub because I like working with it wet. That's something that I learned from Banshee, but never actually embraced. And it wasn't until
yeah,
later.
yeah,
So yeah, and it changes as you progress as a painter, I think.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I thought it was lovely what you said a few sentences ago. You said, um, "I'll only use a particular brushstroke at certain times now," which is that's beautiful. That's the intention,
Yeah,
because that's how I paint. So I'll be painting all mindlessly, just doing what I do, blah blah blah. And one example of what you just said would be, I start having difficulty with something. So then what I start doing is I go, right, why am I having difficulty with it? All right, because I'm using this brushstroke, not that brushstroke. I'm
yeah,
using that setup, not that setup. And I use it as a tool to troubleshoot,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
and it's, or I use it as a teaching tool for myself, or a teaching tool for my own development. You know, another places I use it is when I use it as a teaching tool for myself is, you know, copying other people's work. It literally just is a language that translates work A to
Yeah.
me, essentially.
The
You
thing is,
know,
though, what I find is when you can, when you're painting and you know, you can analyze why you're using a certain brushstroke or you're using a certain consistency. What ends up happening is actually when you look at other people's work, it goes from that's absolutely beautiful to I know how you did that. And it's
yeah,
amazing
yeah,
when I see Richard Gray, when I see Andy Wardle's, when I see yours, especially now, when I see Sopa's work, I can look at these pieces, especially zoom up close, and I can go, I know exactly how you've done that. Might not be able to replicate the skill that you've achieved, but I know how you've done it. And
yeah.
actually, what you've done isn't, this is a horrible thing to say, but what you've done isn't necessarily some special technique or some
No,
magical
that's the
secret.
beauty of
It's
it.
just,
That's the
you've done it
perfect
better
thing to
than
say.
them. That's it. And that's what it comes down to, isn't it? And a lot of the time it's interpretation. It's how they have interpreted that model that's made it better than yours.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. See, all these things are the right things to say. They really are. That's exactly what I hear. You know, painting isn't. I say it on my fundamentals course a lot, and I probably say it on my videos a lot. There's a lot about painting that's put up on a pedestal, and
Yeah,
it just ain't that special.
don't get me started.
It, it just ain't that special.
No, it's not.
You
Everyone
know,
talks about magical techniques or equipment that you need, and it's all crap. It's all smoke to
yeah,
confuse a really simple and straightforward
yeah,
idea.
hmm yeah,
That's
exactly
all it
right.
is. You don't need, as much as I love my wet palette, we've had this discussion, you don't need a wet
Yeah,
palette.
man.
You don't need particular brushes, although I've got my broken toads again, so I'm so happy.
Yeah, man.
You
Yeah,
don't
same.
need certain brushes. You don't need thinners or flow improvers. You don't need any of this crap. It's just paintbrush, a decent paintbrush, and some paint that you like.
Yeah, absolutely. And see, again, this is you're giving me just loads of great information. You know, you're just telling me more and more that. Sound like I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but it's not. That's not the intent. You know, the intent is you telling me now that you're making conscious decisions. Okay, I don't use a wet palette, and I don't like a wet palette,
Hmm?
and you do like a wet palette, but now you know you've made a conscious decision,
Yeah,
not a
absolutely.
dogmatic decision. You've made a conscious decision and not just a follow the crowd decision. So the fact that you use a wet palette is exactly the right thing to do because I now know, because you've done that course 3 times now, you're doing that deliberately. You're not doing it blindly. So it's the right decision.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what I want people to take away from that course. I want them to make the right decision for them, not the decision that somebody else said they should make, not the decision that a product has been marketed to them, tells them they should make, or whatever, you know.
yeah. I mean,
So
this is the biggest problem, like with the
everything you said, mate,
community
is
we
really
have,
encouraging.
because the
Sorry,
problem
Steve.
we have, the problem we have with the community is, and there was a perfect example of this was a post earlier where someone was asking for advice about painting or whatever it was, and the first response was, well, you need to make sure that you thin your paint. You need to, and you can't help but sit there and go, well, for a start, do you actually need to thin your paint? No, not necessarily. And actually, how thin do you need your paint?
Depends what you're
How
doing,
how
doesn't
do
it?
you, how do you tell how do you tell someone how thin their paint should be? Because you can't give a direct answer to that, because the paint makes a difference. The make of paint, the color of paint, and even then it's personal preference. I guarantee if me and you sat next to each other painting, just chilling out, our paint consistency would be completely different, even if we painted the same wall
Absolutely.
with the same paints.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's people are forgetting the problem with our community and the internet is that we have so much information to hand that not all the information that we are being given is actually learned by anyone. It's being told, it's secondhand information. We have this
Mm-hmm.
big gap
Yeah.
where people are not
Yeah.
necessarily learning and experimenting with the basics of painting themselves. And they're just going, well,
Mm-hmm.
you need to paint with paint that's skimmed milk. No, you don't. Well, you need to do two thin
See,
coats. Two thin coats is wrong. It's
so
fundamentally wrong.
I look at it like this. Our our hobby is a craft that can be
Mm-hmm.
used artistically.
Yeah.
And and it's a very young craft. And it's also a very product focused craft.
Yeah.
And because of that, a lot has been missed out of it. And the fundamentals course very much is the craft of it, the science of it. And I kind of like use the analogy of basket weaving. Basket weaving is very much a craft that can look nice. Basket weaving is very much a craft that can be used artistically and is very much functional. It very much has a system to it. And it's also hundreds of thousands of years old. It's been refined. Do you know what I mean? And it's got
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
definite way of doing what it does. And it's not product based. It's purely practical and then artistic afterwards. And I look at painting that same way. And what we've got at the moment is we've got 3 kinds of teacher really out there. We've got some really great painters that are running courses, but they might not be great teachers, so
Yeah.
that information might not be passed on as effectively as it could be.
And I've been
Then
on the
you've got
receiving end of that.
you've been
So
where?
I've been on the receiving end of that, where I've been on courses with great painters, but they have not been great teachers. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, it's been a waste of money. So, and it's more common than you'd think, to be honest with you.
All right, okay. That's it.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's
Not,
a big part to differentiate the type of painting we're talking about as well. Because if we're army painting as opposed to display painting, they are two completely different animals. I would never call.
different mindsets.
Yeah, absolutely. I would never call armies that I do for myself or commissions an art piece. But if I'm spending 50 hours or 15 hours on a bust, which I'm painting at the moment, then that very much pushes towards an art form.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the art form side of it is incredibly young. It's only the last, what, maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe more, I don't know,
Yeah.
that's been pushing towards more of an art form, because there's
Uh-huh.
so many people that can hit that technical perfection that it's no longer just about what's good and what's not. It's about
No, yeah,
what's
exactly.
created and the atmosphere that's come with it.
Mm-hmm. So on top of that, so you've got great painters who aren't necessarily great teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some of them might be great teachers. So you've kind of got that group of people. Then you've got a group of people that's, I'm just kind of going to call them like the general populace
Mm-hmm.
or experienced hobbyists or long-time hobbyists, or they might consider themselves intermediate hobbyists, or whatever. And this is where, again, so you may or may not get good lessons in that mix, but they're also the biggest mix. But they're also the biggest mouths as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of talking to these people now because they make up, almost every painter's following.
Yeah.
And everyone is well-meaning, all right, but it doesn't necessarily mean the teaching is accurate, or whether there's a phrase that drives me crazy, or whether their information will work for me. We'll deal with that comment in a second.
Yeah.
All right.
Because it's a
All my
fair point.
opinions are coming out now, mate, by the way.
Yeah, but this is
All right.
what should be happening, mate. Like this is what, for as blunt as it is, for you to progress, we need more of you. Like that's.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
I'm always willing. I'm always willing to give me. What I can never do is anticipate what people want. I think that's one of the big ones.
yeah.
But anyway, last kind of teacher you've got is the product teacher. Somebody who's going, here's our product, here's how amazing it is, here's how we would like you to use it, please buy it.
Yeah.
And those kind of mixes, they're not really good enough. Now having a great painter and a great teacher, yeah, that's definitely good enough. But from what I hear, and like you've said, there's not too many of them. I mean, that's only what I've heard. All right, so I'm going to play diplomatic, Tommy, here, because I don't know. I have thought about going on more courses. I mean, David Soper's course, oh my God, that's great.
Do you know
that guy cared.
Do you know what's interesting about David's course? So, and I would have no issues saying this with him at all. So he's great. He's incredibly passionate. But, and he says this at the beginning, he teaches you how he paints. So
Absolutely.
actually, how good that course is entirely dependent on whether you like how he paints.
Yeah.
So for one person, that course could be terrible. For another person, it could be amazing.
Yeah.
And that's interesting when you're going on a course and you spend, say, £150 for a weekend's learning. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then turn up and go, I'm 4 hours in and I don't like the way you paint. I'm not enjoying this. How much am I actually getting out of it? As opposed to if I went on, say, Richard Gray's course, who paints in a completely different way.
Massively different way.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really difficult because the courses are a lot of money. And Patreons complicate this.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm
Because
finding that.
Patreon is everywhere, and it's so no video content will ever be as good as a course. And the problem is
Agreed.
people sign up for Patreons, but they don't understand. They don't necessarily make the correct decision, or think through the decision of whose Patreon they go for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they end up.
I know what I mean.
Yeah. So they end up with Patreons that are not going to be any good for them because the content.
I made my first Patreon subscriber video tonight. I don't know if you heard from earlier on in the video, but I was saying it,
Hmm.
that I'd done that video tonight, and I actually, without the student there to bounce off, I found it a quite clunky experience
Yeah.
to start to vocalize solo my fundamentals course. You
Yeah.
know, because I have this, although I have a very structured lesson and it's a very definite blocks of teaching, they come out of me very organically. Um, Even though there's a definite order to the way I teach as well. And having a student there to make mistakes, to ask me questions, to challenge um, what it is I'm looking for, even though all students make exactly the same mistakes, which is the weird thing. I couldn't I couldn't simulate that experience for myself, though I tried.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that video goes, with my limited amount of equipment and blah blah blah. We'll see how it goes.
I think when it
You
comes
know,
to Patreons and courses, people need to ask themselves of why they go into that person. This is it. Because so for going to one person is not going to be the same as, so for me, going to one person is not going to be as good as going to another, just because of how they teach or what their style is or what their personality is. Because I can tell you
um,
right now, there are a few painters in the community that I don't get on with. Now,
yeah,
that's not a dig at anyone. It's just the way it is. A perfect example for me, and I have no issue saying this, is Miles David at Little Legend Studio is an absolutely fantastic painter. He creates beautiful miniatures and he's got a very graphic style. Now, for me, I would never paint like that. It's not my sort of thing, but I love following
yeah,
his work. And I got his Patreon for, I think I had it for 3 months. And the reason why I enjoyed it so much is because he teaches well, and he paints completely different to me, massively different. So I learned so much
yeah,
from
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
And so I had a specific decision on why I went to him, why I wanted to learn from him. And actually, his Patreon is great. But would it be great for everyone else? Possibly not. I don't know.
It's for them to decide, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. But the problem is people go, that's a big name. That'll be good. Let's do it. And that's not
Yeah, and why
necessarily the
not?
right thing.
Yeah, why not? I mean, that's again, it's just for people to decide whether a Patreon's good or not, and whether even they enjoy a course or not. You
Yeah.
know, it's suck it and see, and there you go. You know,
Yeah, it's true.
so it's. Did you notice, right, that my fundamentals course doesn't teach you how to paint like me, or that's not my intention. You know,
So, yes,
and
it doesn't, it doesn't. Because the problem is at no point do you ever go, this is how I do it, or it's not. The thing is, I noticed it on the second time. You don't teach how you paint, not
no,
intentionally, but
no,
with the majority of, so you paint a lot of GW stuff, and you
yeah,
have a certain crisp style around what you create. And as an example, what I found when I first did your course is that style that you've taught, those basics that you taught, are very good, and they support that style of finish. But when I interpret that with, say, I use Banshee again as an example, with what I learned from Banshee and how he paints, all of a sudden these facts become a bit grayer. They're not,
yeah,
they're,
yeah,
they're still not wrong, but they don't necessarily work as well for the result, for a different result. So
yeah, man.
yeah, I agree. You don't push anyone to go, this is how you should paint because this is how I paint. But I think subconsciously there is still a certain amount that pushes towards that heavy metal style.
Yeah, yeah. Well, though that is my style, and on the course, I definitely will give that style's worth of demonstration because
Yeah.
it's easy to understand. It's very easy to read, and I think this is why I'm questioning my own fundamentals course recently. Is that there's actually so much more for me to demonstrate, and I'm not quite sure how to get it out. Like for example, my orc bust. That's
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
end of all my
yeah.
videos, or where me face on me. It's my profile picture on everything, pretty much. You know, that Orc bust is not the heavy metal style. It's a very different style completely.
Yeah.
And that's all painted using those ballparks of fundamentals. But I haven't demonstrated it to anybody. And because I rarely paint that way as well, not many people actually go, Tommy, how do you paint that way? And I go, all right, here's how you do it.
Yeah.
You know, but actually, it would be a fundamentals lesson again. But I don't think back to the course. I don't know if I will have said the fundamentals isn't about painting my way. It's about having a bunch of Lego bricks that you can combine however you like to produce whatever results you want to produce. Now that, in fact, you've got me freestyling now. That in itself could be a course. Here's the fundamentals, and here's now 10 ways you could use it to get 10 different results. Because I'd have no problem, you know, looking at whatever other painters and going, here's how this guy paints. Here's the fundamentals, recipes for it. Use these kind of brushstrokes, these kind of consistencies in these kind of ways. You know, bam, 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 and off you go. You know, I could happily do that. And, you know, and I look at, I mean, I'll use Alfonso's work as an example. I look at that, especially through his Fuchs Smoothness era.
Yeah.
You know, and I look at it and I go, right, well, how would I do that? Have I already done that? There's another question. Because, well, the answer is yeah, actually. It's because it's about cause and effect. Do you understand the causes for the effects you're looking for? And the opposite of that is also valuable. You know, do you understand the effects? No, hang on a minute, I'm getting that wrong. Do you understand the consequences of what you're doing? Or do you understand how to get the consequences you're actually looking for? Because a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Does that make sense then?
Yeah, it does. So this is what. So when I did your course, I said to you, like, I was really lost where I was. I wasn't sure what sort of painter I wanted to be. So when I came away from your course, you gave me information on basics. But then what ended up happening was I took those basics and used them to understand what and why I was doing things. And that took me, say, 2 or 3 months before I'm now in a position where I can go, do you know what? Actually, what I'm painting at the moment, it looks great. I'm really happy with it. It's fantastic. I'm getting the results that I want. If I don't, I can go, what has gone wrong there? Actually, this is what's gone wrong. I can fix that. It's just a different brushstroke. It's just a different paint consistency. So I think if you were to look at doing a second course, do you remember MKA painting? They did a basics course, and then they did an infantry course basics, and then they did an advanced infantry with newer techniques. And I think it could be worthwhile doing your fundamentals course, because you shouldn't change that. I'm telling you now, if you change that, that's wrong, because it is
okay.
great. But I think if you want to do a second course, potentially it would be good doing a course. Say, for example, I go on your basics course, then go, right, this is the next course. This is understanding the fundamentals, as an example. And then after 2 or 3 months, they go on that understanding the fundamentals, and you can go, right, what have you learned? What other information that I can give you to cement your understanding about how to use these fundamentals? Because, for example, the troll that I'm painting at the moment is painted entirely with dots. It's stippled. And that's not something you teach on your fundamentals course, but it comes back to that information of why have I chosen that brushstroke, or why am I using the different paint consistency? It's just an evolution of what you taught on that course. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think that would be a really strong option for another course, but I don't think you should change your fundamentals course at all.
It's pretty effective, isn't it, the fundamentals course? I've got to admit. It is effective, and that's why it's so innate in me.
And I think what really shows that is you can be an experienced painter or a good painter, and still get so much out of it.
I mean, there's Mr. Damien Pedley. If you don't follow him, by the way. You know, he's been on my non-Mets course and fundamentals course and what have you, and, you know, that guy's won demons. Oh, there's 20 seconds remaining in this video. I could talk all night doing this, man. Oh, no.
Sorry, mate.
All right, get all your promotions in quick. Phoenix Commissions Painting. Go and follow him. He's got a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah,
Follow mine.
Channel, which has just started, and a Facebook page and Instagram. So yeah, there's not really
Brilliant.
much more to say.
All right, dude.